Hi, welcome back to Empowered Art Therapy. I'm Kerryn Knight, known as Kez, and here we are again at the lovely Kindred art space in Frankston, Victoria. So this is video 2 of 2, where I'm looking at the art therapy processes that I've used for myself, for my own self-care. So in the previous video, I spoke a little bit about this process that I've done recently, but today I'd like to explain this interesting piece behind me. So as you can see here, it's certainly not a masterpiece, and that's what art therapy is all about. It's just the process. It's not about looking at the focal point, making sure we have the composition right. It's just about the creative process. So there's no right or wrong. And also too, I'd like to take you through the process that we usually start with a relaxation technique, and that helps us get into our body, get out of our analytical mind, put that on hold for a while. And just on that, getting into our body feeling, there's so much more research now that we store the memory of experience, including trauma, at a cellular level in our body. And art therapy, beyond words, can help us get into that, to be able to process and shift that through so we can move forward in a safe, nurturing environment. So this piece I did 10 years ago, and it was done following a guided imagery that I was taken through. And within that guided imagery, I was asked through a series of verbal cues to look for a guide or a messenger. And out of the blue, immediately in my mind's eye, I had this vision of a majestic kookaburra, and it had a message that was very clear: stand in your conviction. So I was quite taken aback and moved and perplexed by this mind's eye vision and message. And I proceeded to Google the totem kookaburra meanings, and I found a website that stated almost word for word that message that I received through that guided imagery process: stand in your conviction. At the time, I was completing my transpersonal art therapy studies, and I was very fearful and anxious about the next steps forward, about moving out into the world and creating my private practice where I could share and empower other people through the art therapy process. I wasn't too sure about what steps to take, and I needed clarity around that. And through this guided imagery and the art therapy process, the art making that I created from that, this has given me clarity. So certainly I wanted to include that image of the kookaburra there, but there were also other things that I wanted to include going through that body feeling. And firstly, I'd like to note this figure here that's delving deep into the darkness and swirling around in that. And for me, that reflected where I was at with my transpersonal art therapy studies. It certainly did stir the mud for me. It helped me to re-experience the depth of that experience and the depth of the emotion. And I'd like to point out there that even though I may not have experienced the same experiences that you've experienced, but I have experienced the depth of my own experience, the depth of my emotion. And therefore, I am able to hold the energetic space in order for you to feel safe and nurtured to go through the depths for yourself. And of course, when we go through the depths, there's always learnings to be had. And I wanted to depict that through this tree image, so that I'm growing up out of that depth and out of that darkness and growing tall. And there we have the kookaburra at the top. So symbolically, the kookaburra is in the spotlight. Symbolically, it's out on the limb. And symbolically, it's loud and proud. And that's that message that I needed to hear for myself, that I needed to get out on the limb, take that leap of faith, and be loud and proud about the processes that I wanted to share with people. So that messenger has been a guide for me for the last 10 years. And funnily enough, in that process of building up my private practice, I also had a great vision of setting up a space, a centre for mental health and well-being. And I had a vision for that, which I've called Kindred Art Space. And here we are in that vision now. It's materialised after a lot of hard work, but also too after this guide of the Kookaburra. So when I was trying to find the right place and space to set up my vision of Kindred Art Space, I found an old warehouse that was available on Kookaburra Street in Frankston. So here we are. So thank you to my guide, my symbol, and I'd like to share the fact that you too can create those symbols for yourself, create those images and messages, guides, clarities for yourself through the art making process beyond words. So thank you for your input, your feedback of this video and the other videos that I've shared in this series. And I look forward to hearing from you. Please feel free to contact and make a time to meet me and have a look through Kindred Art Space, and so I can answer any other questions that you may have about art therapy and how it can benefit you. Thank you.